Welcome to Pod Studio, level up your fluency from trending topics. Today we are going to talk about the future of AI.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to cut through the noise and get straight to the insights you need. So picture this, an AI, right? And it generates a diagram that clearly explains the difference between intelligence and consciousness.
Wow.
Or, maybe even weirder, it writes this really profound, introspective piece, but in the voice of Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that's not sci-fi anymore, is it? It really shows how fast things are moving.
Exactly. It pushes the boundaries of what we thought AI could even do, and it challenges, our definitions of understanding itself.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're diving deep into an exclusive conversation from TED 2025 with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. You've shared some, well, frankly, incredible excerpts.
Yeah, they're quite something.
And our mission today is to pull out the really crucial insights, the surprising bits, maybe the most thought-provoking questions about AI that came out of that talk. We want to cut through the hype, maybe some of the fear, too.
Right. Get beyond the headlines.
And give you a direct line, sort of, to what one of the big leaders in the industry thinks this means for, well, everything. Our jobs, creativity, safety, our future, really.
Yeah, it's about getting that nuanced view, straight from the source, looking at the tech breakthroughs, sure, but also the deeper philosophical stuff Altman himself seems to be wrestling with.
Okay, so let's kick off with what I'm calling the wow factor, because some of the capabilities Sam Altman described are just next level.
Mm-hmm.
He highlighted Sora, their video model. They asked it to imagine shocking revelations at TED.
Okay.
And apparently the results were surprisingly good. He gave it a B plus A even. Noted the 5 fingers on all the hands, which if you've seen early AI art.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal. Consistency is hard.
Right. But what I found maybe even more striking was GPT-4o generating that diagram, intelligence versus consciousness.
Simple but effective.
He said it was simple, yet incredibly accurate. And he pointed to it as like a direct link to the model's core intelligence. It suggests it's doing more than just repeating patterns, maybe, some kind of conceptual grasp.
That's the implication, isn't it? Moving beyond just data recall. And then there was the Charlie Brown thing.
Yes, Charlie Brown as an AI, musings on existence. Altman called it rather profound.
High praise.
And the writing quality apparently is hitting a new level. But what really got me was his observation. He said something like, there's no way to know if it's thinking that or if it just saw that a lot in the training data.
Mm-hmm. The classic black box problem.
And then the kicker. If you can't tell the difference, how much do you care?
Oof. That hits the philosophical core of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
If the output is indistinguishable from human thought, does the mechanism matter to us, the users? Or is that just letting AI off the hook too easily when we're trying to figure out what it can really do? What do you think?
It's a huge question. It forces us to rethink what intelligence even looks like, maybe. And if AI is hitting these levels, it naturally leads to that big real-world question everyone asks, jobs.
Right. The management consultant's dilemma, as you called it. Replacement or empowerment.
Altman's take is interesting. He thinks expectations for jobs will go up, definitely. But AI capabilities will grow so dramatically, he says, it'll be easy to rise to that occasion.
So less about outright replacement, more about changing the job. Augmentation.
Yeah, like a fundamental shift. AI handles the routine stuff, the heavy lifting computationally, and humans focus on higher level thinking, problem solving.
And evolution, not extinction. For most roles, anyway.
And the growth numbers he shared, they just back this up. ChatGPT's rise. It's been a rocket ship.
The numbers were?
500 million weekly active users. He even apparently told the interviewer privately it had doubled in just a few weeks before that.
Wow. That's embedding itself into daily life at an incredible speed.
Unbelievable trajectory.
And another key point Altman made, which I think is important, is focusing on building a great product, not just a great model.
Right. That distinction matters. Raw power isn't enough. It needs to be usable, integrated.
Exactly. User-friendly applications that actually help.
And the perfect example he gave was the improved memory feature in ChatGPT. It's designed to, and I quote, get to know you over the course of your lifetime.
Okay.
Become an extension of yourself, this companion. When he described it, knowing your query history, your interests, the interviewer said their jaw dropped.
Yeah, you could see why. It's incredible, but also a little unsettling.
Definitely a bit queasy, as they put it. Feels very close to that movie here.
Right. Reminds me of those old sci-fi shows where the computer always knew a bit too much. There's a fine line
A
there.
very fine line.
Speaking of what's next, Altman also hinted at some near-term jaw-droppers, things coming soon.
Yes, he seemed particularly excited about AI for science. Said scientists are already more productive.
That's huge.
He thinks we could see meaningful progress against disease with AI-assisted tools pretty soon. Physics might take longer, but he sounded hopeful even there, maybe for things like room temperature superconductors.
That kind of acceleration could literally change the world. And then there was agentic software engineering.
Explain that one a bit more. Agentic.
It means AI that doesn't just write code when you ask it to. It can actively plan, execute, and iterate on complex software projects, like break them down into smaller tasks, maybe even use other tools online.
Okay, so it manages the project itself.
Sort of. Altman said software development is already pretty transformed, but we should expect another move that big in the coming months. He mentioned engineers having religious-like moments, doing work in an afternoon that used to take, like, 2 years.
2 years and an afternoon. Wow.
It's a total paradigm shift in how we build software.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. AI and creativity. That Charlie Brown example immediately brings up the IP issue, right? The elephant in the room.
Absolutely.
If AI can recreate styles or characters so perfectly, isn't that just IP theft? Like, did they cut a deal with the Peanuts estate for that demo?
Well, Altman's view is that AI should lift up human creativity, enable new people to make better art, write better novels.
Yeah.
You know, humans stay central.
But the economics.
That's the massive challenge. He totally admits we need a new model around the economics of creative output. Because, yes, people have always built on others' work, but this kind of democratized, powerful mimicry, it changes the game.
And it's not just abstract styles. The interviewer mentioned a specific journalist, Carol Cadwalader, whose writing style was apparently imitated by ChatGPT without her consent.
Right, that highlights the consent issue. Should models only be trained on work from people who explicitly agree? Or if you prompt it with a specific person's name, should that person get compensated somehow?
It's really thorny balancing AI's potential with artists' rights.
OpenAI has some guardrails now, but they're, well, imperfect. Their image models apparently won't do that if you ask for a living artist's style by name.
Okay, so no generate a painting in the style of David Hockney.
Probably not. But if you ask for a vibe or an art movement, it likely will. And it won't just copy a song directly. But these are temporary fixes, really. Altman himself brought up the emotional difference, feeling like your work is being stolen versus feeling like it's being amplified.
That's a really interesting distinction. Is it theft or amplification?
And he suggested exploring a model where if a living artist opts in to have their style used, maybe there's a revenue model there. He called it a good thing to explore and said the world needs to figure this out fast.
But it's more than just money, isn't it? It's about artistic identity, what originality even means now.
Exactly. What is art when style can be replicated so easily? Who decides the value?
Yeah, it really challenges our core ideas about authorship.
It does. And quick fixes seem unlikely. This philosophical debate is going to run for a while, even as practical solutions start to emerge.
Okay, let's pivot to the risks. The safety concerns. This stuff is powerful, and that inevitably brings up the unknown.
The scary scenarios.
Right. People jump to the movies. But Altman clarified, they're not secretly sitting on a conscious model or something that's about to self-improve into an apocalypse.
Not Skynet waiting in the wings.
Not yet, anyway. He described having moments of awe with internal models, which makes them ask, okay, how far will this go? But he seemed keen to ground the conversation.
What I found interesting was how he pivoted from those sci-fi fears to the real immediate risks they're dealing with now.
Like what?
Misuse. Things like bioterror, major cybersecurity challenges. Also, the potential loss of control if models do become capable of self-improvement down the line. And of course, broader stuff like disinformation at scale.
So more tangible threats than killer robots.
Exactly. It's an insight into their operational reality. They're grappling with concrete dangers today. It makes you wonder if we as a society are even focusing on the right risks sometimes.
That's a good point. So how do they tackle these?
He mentioned an internal preparedness framework, basically outlining potential danger points, figuring out how to measure the risks, and then mitigating them before releasing anything new.
And despite, some people leaving their safety team recently.
Yeah, that was public.
Yeah.
But Altman pointed to their track record. 10% of the world using their systems, largely safely so far. He frames it as an iterative process.
Meaning?
Deploying things relatively early while the stakes are still somewhat low, getting feedback from the real world, and learning how to build safer systems that way.
Learning in the wild. Which has its own risks, I suppose.
It definitely does. But it also provides invaluable real-world data you can't get in a lab.
Okay, this leads to something that confuses a lot of people. AGI versus agentic AI. ChatGPT feels pretty smart, almost general.
Right. It feels like AGI sometimes. But Altman says it's still embarrassingly bad at many things.
Like what?
Well, it doesn't continuously learn and improve on its own in an open-ended way, and it can't really do any knowledge work you could do in front of a computer.
Meaning it can't just decide to browse the web, or make a phone call, or look through your files unless you tell it exactly what to do step by step.
Precisely. It lacks that proactive, autonomous capability. He joked that defining AGI is so hard, if you got 10 OpenAI researchers in a room, you'd get 14 definitions.
Huh. So the definition itself is slippery.
Very. So instead of focusing on some magic moment when AGI arrives, he emphasizes the curve. Models just keep getting smarter and more capable on this long exponential path.
So agentic AI is a step on that path. Not full AGI, but moving towards autonomy.
Exactly. That's where many immediate safety concerns pop up. He says the real challenge is building systems that are safe through all of these steps and beyond.
Okay, so define agentic AI again. It's when AI is
set free to pursue projects on its own and to put the pieces together. That's how Altman put it.
He gave an example, right? The restaurant booking.
Yeah, their internal operator tool booking a restaurant. He said it was kind of incredible, but also a little bit scary because it needed credit card details to make the booking. It taps into that classic fear, right? AI going out onto the internet, making decisions, spending money.
A moment things could go horribly wrong in the movie.
Exactly. Altman called this the most interesting and consequential safety challenge we have yet faced.
So how do you guardrail that?
His argument hinges on trust. He believes a good product is a safe product. Because, realistically, you will not use our agents if you do not trust that they're not going to, empty your bank account or delete your data.
So user trust becomes the ultimate gatekeeper. Progress depends on building that trust.
That's the idea. Progress is gated on our ability to make progress on trust and safety. Which brings us back to their preparedness framework, trying to identify and mitigate those danger moments before releasing agentic capabilities widely.
Okay, looking forward now. Governance, values. A really striking moment was when his own AI model asked him a question.
Yeah, the O1 Pro reasoning model. What was the question again?
It was something like, given that you're helping create technology that could reshape the destiny of our entire species, who granted you the moral authority to do that? And how are you personally accountable if you're wrong?
Wow, that's heavy. An AI calling out its creator's moral authority.
Right. Altman's response was interesting. He called himself a nuanced character, said some good things and some criticisms are true, reaffirmed the mission. Make AGI and distribute it, make it safe for the broad benefit of humanity.
Did he address the accountability part?
He admitted tactics shifted over time, partly due to needing capital, but claimed their adherence to the core mission is very strong. It shows someone, publicly at least, grappling with the weight of it all.
And then there was the comparison to the ring of power from Elon Musk, implying corruption comes with that kind of influence.
Yeah, but Altman's response was surprisingly normal. He said he feels shockingly the same, personally, despite the power, the money. The monotony of day-to-day life feels exactly the same.
Grounded almost.
He did say becoming a parent changed his perspective on how he spends his time, made him think more about his son's future. But then he added, I didn't need a kid for that part, meaning caring about not destroying the world.
That makes sense. It's interesting, too, how his views on governance seem to have evolved.
How so?
Well, he initially pushed hard for a new government agency to license big AI projects. But now, after, as he put it, learning more about how the government works, he doesn't think that's quite the right policy proposal anymore.
To less government control.
Not necessarily less oversight. He still very much believes that the most advanced models, the ones with global impact, need external safety testing. Society needs a way to understand what's being released.
Just maybe not through a specific licensing agency.
Perhaps. And he was also critical of the usual approach, these small elite summits deciding things.
Right. He seemed more interested in user feedback.
Exactly. He said he's more interested in what our hundreds, millions of users want as a whole. He actually thinks AI could help us here, that it could learn the collective value preference of everyone and help us make wiser collective decisions.
Using AI to improve governance itself, that's ambitious.
It is. And he mentioned a practical example. OpenAI has become much more permissive with its latest image model regarding speech harms, meaning less censorship based on user feedback. Though he acknowledged they still need to figure out where to draw the line with real-world harms.
So a move towards more distributed, user-driven alignment.
Seems like it. Away from purely top-down control. It's a fascinating shift for a company right at the frontier.
Okay, so finally, the inevitable future. Is this whole thing an unstoppable race, like some critics say?
Altman pushed back on that. He argued things slow down all the time because the
Right.
tech isn't ready or it's not safe enough or just doesn't work yet.
So not an out-of-control train.
Not in his view.
Yeah.
But he does think AI is going to happen. He compared it to a fundamental physics discovery. You can't undiscover it.
And the fear people feel.
He called the fear totally rational.
Hmm.
But his message was, we have to embrace this with, caution, but not fear. Otherwise, he warns, we will get run by with other people that use AI to do better.
Use it cautiously, or be left behind by those who do.
That's the gist. And his vision for his own son's future was really vivid.
What did he paint a picture of?
A world where kids will never be smarter than AI, where products, services are incredibly smart, incredibly capable, where computers truly understand you.
That sounds different.
He talked about incredible material abundance, change happening incredibly fast, and individual human ability being amplified so far beyond what a person can do today.
Wow.
He actually hopes future generations will look back at us, our time now, with a mix of pity and nostalgia.
Pity. Why pity?
Because, from their perspective, they lived such horrible lives, they were so limited.
Huh. That's quite a perspective. Humbling, as you said earlier. A future that feels both amazing and maybe a bit unsettling.
Definitely both.
Yeah.
Utopian and disorienting all at once.
Okay, so that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Given Sam Altman's vision, this future of incredible abundance and amplified ability, but also his own admission of big mistakes along the way and this absolute need for trust, what personal responsibilities do you feel you have as this technology potentially reshapes everything? How will you help make sure this future unfolds with caution, not fear?